Welcome, all fellow wannabes. Welcome to the show. You are listening to the Wannabe Critic podcast. Yet again, you keep returning, and I'm so happy that you keep returning. I hope you're doing well. Tonight, we got another Mandalorian review episode for you. We're reviewing episode 3 of season 2 of The Mandalorian. As usual, I don't know what it's called, so sorry about that. You know, there's usually like a title for each one, so I'm sure one of you is going to know that. But tonight, we got a star-studded cast on the podcast tonight. We got one Caleb Henley, we got one Mikey Collins, we have Rex Tucker, and Emma triumphantly makes her return as the main, one of the main people on this podcast for the Mandalorian. I'm not sure if we're gonna bring her in like to the fold like every single week, you know what I mean? But Emma's back, so I am excited. The other half of a guy and his wife. But how is everybody feeling tonight? I just had a little bit of Gentleman Jack, so I'm feeling pretty good. Caleb, how are you feeling?
I feel okay. No, I feel good. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, good. You worried me there for a second. I was like, oh, God, is Caleb going to be a downer this entire episode?
Caleb, I made you guys wait on me, too.
Yeah, well, I thought, honestly, Caleb is never late. So I thought something legitimately was wrong. I almost called you, but here you are. Everything's fine.
I almost called 911.
Yeah, I did too. Same. I was right there with you, Rex. I thought about doing the exact same thing. So
I'm sure those dispatchers in California would really be able to help.
They would have been like a bunch of Californians end up answering the phone like Rex and be like, "Where is he? What?" I'm sorry, Rex. I got to give you a hard time. But Caleb, it's good to see you. Mikey, how are you? You're looking green this evening. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. I guess that's better than looking blue.
Yeah. Well, I just meant your LED. Oh, yeah. Shots fired because my background's blue. I hate you.
Green with envy.
Yeah, exactly. He's like he's the opposite of the Hulk. But you're feeling good. You changed your setup a little bit. I you know what? I'm feeling froggy. I think we might make this one a video podcast this week. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. But your background's green. You did some rearranging there.
I did.
How long did that take you? Did you get, take you a couple weeks or what?
I bought like a couple things and then put up the shelves. It kind of took a weekend thing because we went to Kansas City and I had my first IKEA experience and all that. So we got some shelves and I've just been doing more backdroppy stuff. It's more for you guys than it is for anybody else, unless we do a video. But yeah, I'm digging it.
Nice. I appreciate you taking pride in the podcast. I have to ask, whenever you see it on screen now, like, do you immediately get ideas of how, like, you can complete the entire picture? You're like, oh, if I could just...
Yeah, exactly.
It never ends. Welcome to hell.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But Rex, you got some backdrop going. Did you get some LED strips? My God, you've leveled up. Well, you got.
I did not.
What is that purple hue you got in your freaking room there? What's going on?
It's just my lights. They're just like the Wi-Fi lights, and I can change the colors.
Wow. Did you have those last week?
Yeah, I've had them since I started.
I am so sorry that I did not notice.
But I just didn't do the color.
Oh, okay. So it's not
white.
It's not on me. It's on you then. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. You have kind of an earthy background going on. You know what I mean? You got like is that a picture in the back? Is that a painting of some sort? Did you draw that?
It's a picture of me and Selena when we got engaged.
Oh, that's so sweet. I have some of those, but it's on my desk where I can see it. You know what I mean? From our wedding. So
is it you doing the leg up, or is that Selena?
Yeah, she's picking me up.
Oh, okay. How sweet.
What happened was Rex was like, Selena, listen, you are the love of my life. Will you marry me? In like the most chillest voice ever. Did you cry when you proposed to Selena? I just have to know.
You need more of a valley voice. What'd you say?
I said, did you cry whenever you proposed to Selena?
No.
You cried, didn't you? And you threw that leg up in the background like that. I know it happened.
Hey, fun fact, I was there when they got engaged.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Did you guys party afterwards? What happened?
We did. Wait, I don't know if Emma came with us, but we went to a restaurant.
Oh, yeah, I did come with you. That's been a long time ago, dude. But, yeah. That was a fun day.
I was actually really sick that day, so.
Lovesick.
Lovesick. It's because you were about to get engaged. The nerves, you know what I mean? You're getting some like knots in the stomach. I mean,
No, I like woke up full on sick, fever, and everything.
oh God. Okay. Well, I guess that was a little bit
Time to
worse
get
than what I
married.
thought it was. Yeah, exactly. Will you marry me?
But so I couldn't like change the date because my parents had flew out to like be there.
Oof.
So
you
I
got married in
couldn't
Missouri, right? Or you got engaged in Missouri, right?
Engaged, yeah.
Oh crap.
So
That
it was
sucks.
like I had to do it. So I just took a bunch of Dayquil and just
suffered
I
through it.
got through it. I got through it.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. That just goes to show you can get through anything, especially this podcast. All right, Rex, that's enough out of you. Emma, you joined. You're back. You're here. How are you?
Back. I was on a hiatus last week. I was tired.
You're tired and you had a little bit of work to do. You know what I mean? Emma's a freaking entrepreneur, like in every sense of the word. So she's not on every once in a while. You just that's just how it is. But
It's just because I want to quit life, everything.
well, that's depressing. Why don't you tell us what you thought of? Why don't you tell us what you thought of Mando episode 2 from last week?
doesn't, man?
We had a
Who
heyday. We had a heyday with that episode. What did you think of it?
I liked last week's episode. I mean, like listening to your guys' podcast that I build on. Yeah, I pretty much agreed with everything you guys said. Like it was obviously a filler episode, and every show has to have those, you know. So I mean,
You dropped the child. God.
But yeah, I thought what?
No, I was just gonna say, can you let us know who had the best takes from last week? Like out of all of us?
Ooh.
If you say Ethan, I'm divorcing you.
No, definitely not. Just kidding. I love you, Ethan. I love you, Ethan.
Shots fired.
Probably Rex, I would say.
Ooh, she didn't want to cause division between me and you, Caleb, so she said Rex.
Yeah.
And obviously Mikey's out of the question. So, you know. Oh,
Yeah, no one wants to side with Mikey.
Hey, real talk.
wasn't here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I forgot to invite you. Oh my God, that's so funny. Hey, listen, that was a great episode last week. I really enjoyed talking with you guys, and I'm happy we're here talking about, you know, we've kept it consistent, you know, week to week. It's been great. It's kind of funny. Me and Emma were with you know, her parents / my in-laws. And I'm glad Emma's here for this episode specifically because we have some spoilers we're going to get into that are, you know, pretty interesting for the most part. Simply because if you're not a huge Star Wars fan, and I mean huge Star Wars fan, this episode might hit a little different for you. So I'm glad Emma's here because we kind of get that perspective. And I don't know how much of Clone Wars, you know, Rex has watched. So, you know, keep in mind, this is going to be kind of, I guess, spoilery a little bit for, you know, the Clone Wars. We're going to be kind of talking about a certain character that shows up in this episode. And it's going to be a great time. So just you're warned, you're going to get some spoilers on Clone Wars if you keep listening. But if you're here listening to The Mandalorian, there's a good chance that you're a big Star Wars fan anyways. So here we go. It's going to be great. Emma, I'm so glad you're back. I missed you last week, and I'm glad you're feeling better, and you can make this happen. Mikey, yeah, keep those hands thrown up because no one missed you. No one even asked. It was literally
It didn't even miss me.
Yeah, no, and and all joking aside, Mikey was like, I don't even think I have it watched. I had it watched before you guys recorded, so it's fine. So here we go. Does anyone have the freaking title? I always do this. I always forget. Caleb, what is it? I know I could count on you. What is it? It's not shut up, Mikey. It's not the Mandalorian. It's something else.
Look, I love this title actually. It's The Heiress. And I'm sure that flies over a lot of people's heads that don't know the backstory with everything. But it's awesome. Like I love it. It's the title is just an awesome nod to like people, you know, there's like devout Star Wars fans. It's super, super cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so can the devout Star Wars fans explain it to the non-devout Star Wars fans?
Emma, don't jump ahead. We're gonna get to that. All right. We're saving it for the later part of the episode. Okay.
Okay.
Know your role. All right. No, I'm just kidding. No, we are gonna get into that. You know, and which is great why you're here, because we need to address part of the, you know, the elephant in the room that is Bo-Katan, but we will get to that eventually. But as in true wannabe critic fashion, we are going to go around the room, so to speak, and we are going to give our best takes of the episode. We're going to give our highs of the episode. Then we're going to talk about some general lows, what we thought, you know. And I think honestly in the latter part of the episode, the lows are kind of going to, are where it's going to kind of take shape, because you kind of have to think of outside the box a little bit. Because here's the deal, and I'm just going to get it started. I'm going to throw a little curveball. I'm getting started this week. You know what I mean? This episode is freaking awesome. There is nothing bad about this episode. If you think there's something bad about this episode, I want to say you're an idiot, but I know you're not. That's the wrong thing to say. You know what I mean? This is live. This is season 1 Mandalorian majesty at its best. And I was looking for kind of that season 1 grit that we had, you know, like the Prison Break episode, or even like whenever he was on Tatooine and wrestling that, whenever he saw the child use the power, you know, his powers for the first time. I was looking for something like that. This brings that type of attitude, that gritty kind of like, all right, we got to get down to business type vibes. So I didn't see anything wrong with this episode. And hot take / maybe unpopular opinion, I don't know, 35 minutes to 45 minutes is the best window to tell a Mandalorian story. Also, Bryce Dallas Howard, God bless you. You did a freaking awesome job. Okay, I said all the positive things I wanted to say about it. Caleb, I'm gonna throw it to you. What? Give us your.
We know Cape's score.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. Do you like this episode?
Yeah. So this is probably my favorite episode of The Mandalorian so far in both season 1 and season 2. I have never been so excited for watching an episode of The Mandalorian. I was like on the edge of my seat for the entire time, and it helps. I mean, thanks to Twitter and the inability for me to watch this when it drops at midnight on Thursday night. Like, I knew what was happening or who was showing up. I knew Bo-Katan was showing up. I already had that spoiled, but it had me on the edge of my seat because I was just so stinking excited for it. Like the first time that we're starting to see these characters that only show up in the animated shows in live action, and it's just, oh, it's so cool. And they executed it so well. You know, it's funny, last season, Bryce Dallas Howard, she directed that episode with the Village, and a lot of people kind of, you know, dumped on it.
Underrated.
For whatever reason. Yeah, and I actually like that episode a lot. And, you know, it's paying homage to, like, Seven Samurai, and I thought it was done well. And she came out, and this episode is amazing. Like, really, just really, really amazing. And I think that, you know, her being dumped on like that last year was completely undeserved, and she came back and just threw it in everyone's faces, and I think it's awesome. Yeah, so Bo-Katan and her 2, you know, Mandalorian pals are incredible in this. Like, just incredible. And I think one of the things that they capitalize on so well is you see in, like, the Clone Wars is Bo-Katan is basically at points at odds with Jedi, and they're fighting Jedi. And you know that how good of warriors that they have to be in order to do that. And I thought they did such a good job of, in live action, showing how, you know, kind of BA these warriors are. And they make the Mandalorian look like, you know, he doesn't really know what he's doing, you know, because they are like a unit. Like, they've been there before. They know what they're doing. They're super
Seasoned.
experienced.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, they're the elite of the elite Mandalorians. And I love the way that they are able to do that and just translate that into live action. It was so awesome. I loved how they actually name dropped Ahsoka Tano. I didn't think that they would do that. And they just came out and did that, and it caught me by surprise, even though, like, I knew that was coming at some point in the season. And it was super, super cool. I can't wait to get to that. You got me super excited for all the things to come. And I do think I said this last week that, you know, we're probably going to see something have to do with them going to Mandalore, taking back Mandalore or something. And I think that might be where we're going this season, because I don't think this is the last that we're going to see of Bo-Katan and those 2 other Mandalorians this season. I think that eventually we're going to go back to them and maybe end up with, you know, a big team at the end of this, like we did last season, a team teaming up and going back to Mandalore and doing some business. But man, it was awesome. I loved it.
Fun fact for you, before we move on to Mikey, the actress that plays Bo-Katan That's the actress from the Clone Wars. It's the same person.
Yep. Yeah.
Which that is the most Dave Filoni move I have ever seen. Like literally, you're talking about a guy who because I mean, he had probably had direct contact with her whenever he's like, okay, yeah, you're perfect for my image of what I see as Bo-Katan. Then they used her in the live action series. Incredible. That's insane that they even did that. I can't think. I mean, usually it's the other way around. Usually a live action actor or actress will play a voice or do something for an animated something or a video game or something like that. But here it's the other way around, which is just crazy to me. But yeah, Caleb, I enjoyed that.
She totally nailed that.
So good. Yeah, I mean, even the mannerisms and the way she moves, that is her character, and you get that. It translates. Not for 1 second do I question that that's not Bo-Katan. It's Bo-Katan, whatever. I call her Katan because Settlers of Catan. You know what I mean? But anyways, Caleb, solid takes. Thank you. So you like this episode overall?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I agree with you. It's probably my favorite. Of all the episodes as well.
There's more stuff I like, but I just don't want to steal all of it because I feel like I do that every time. Is I just steal everything that Mikey and Rex and Emma and whoever else is with us want to say. So I'm trying to hold back because there's a lot more there.
Good man. I appreciate that. Solid hosting abilities. Way to go, Mikey. What are your takes?
I liked it. It was good. I'm kind of in the camp of where. I really enjoyed this episode, but I'm kind of where I didn't really want the Mandalorian to be connected to the main thing yet. I wanted to see more of his story before they start, maybe another season before they start incorporating anybody from the main series of the shows or the movies. But I think they did it. It didn't seem forceful at all, and that was what I was afraid of. So I think they did a really good job at how they handled the episode. And it's probably not my favorite episode. My favorite episode is when he goes to that base camp of all those marauders before he ever has Baby Yoda. And he's just it's classic Western scenario. And I love that. But I thought it was interesting. And probably my biggest issue with this episode is it felt like you were saying, the 30 to 45, I wish it would have been more towards the 45-minute mark because it felt short. Because I watched this with my father-in-law, actually, and we were both like, that felt really short. And it was 30 minutes. I was like, I wanted more. I wanted, you know what I mean? Just them on the ship figuring out what to do. I feel like that would have been cooler, but it was still a good episode. I really liked it.
I have a question.
That was my biggest problem with it, too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to get to that. I have a question. And I'm realizing week to week as we go through this, it's literally me having a mini episode with each one of you guys. Sorry, Mikey, I didn't want to cut you off. Go for it.
No, that's okay. And that actress, she's actually a really good actress. She's from Battlestar Galactica, and she plays a main character in the newer series, and she's a really good actress. I really like her. I didn't know she played the Bo-Katan voice actress, so that was a pleasant surprise for me.
So what you're saying is that she's a nerd, is what you're saying.
Hardcore, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I have a question for you. So we get into this, kind of, and like I was saying before, I feel like I kind of have a back and forth with each one of you guys, and I love that. I love that we're able to. That's kind of what the show has kind of formed into, and then it kind of opens up more and more to that. But I have a question for you. Do you think, and this is a general question for everybody too, that sense of wanting more, do you feel like that's kind of a lost art? Because for me, 35 to 40 minutes, do I want more of it? Do I want a glimpse of Ahsoka? Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like kind of the hype would be taken away a little bit if I saw her at the end of this episode. I don't know. What do you guys think? Mikey, since you have the floor, why don't you start?
I wouldn't want to see her in this episode personally. I think when I think of more, I think of the bar scene. I feel like they spent too much time there, whereas on the barge, if he would have been talking to the crew and gotten more bad feelings, I feel like that was way too quick, him getting thrown immediately into the pit, and then that all went over and the Mandalorians came. I was like, I wish that was a little more drawn out, but I can understand somebody who would want to see a glimpse or a teaser of when Ahsoka is going to be there or something like they did with Boba Fett in the earlier season. But I feel like how they did that, or presumably Boba Fett, But I feel like how they did it with that, where it was just like a quick turn around, walk off the screen, end episode. I feel like that's probably the best case scenario. But I just really wanted just more content, to be honest. I don't really care if they continue the story. I just don't like those 30-minute episodes. I feel like that's not enough time.
Caleb, did you want to piggyback off that?
Who?
Caleb.
No, yeah, I agree. I think it's good that we didn't see Ahsoka in this episode. Yeah. I think that it's actually, I don't think we're going to see her in the next episode either. I mean, just following the pattern of how these episodes work, it's usually you have one that's kind of furthering the plot along for the season, and then you'll have one where you know something doesn't go completely right for the Mandalorian, and then he kind of gets back on track. So I actually would kind of be surprised if we see him in the next episode. I know that would probably make a lot of people angry because I know a lot of people are excited and ready for that. But I think it'd be cool if something else crazy just out of left field happened and kind of took them off that track just to kind of throw a curveball in everyone's face. But no, I think it's good that they didn't overdo it. I think that, they have all these characters and they want to, weave this in to, the main storyline and all of these characters that we know and love. But I also think that they want to be careful with it and don't want to overdo it and, take it one step at a time and kind of, baby feed it to us and milk it, because they might as well. Let's make it really feel powerful instead of, throwing it all at you at once and being really sloppy with it.
Yeah, because it's like, who doesn't want to see more Bo-Katan and that crew? Like, you see how cool they are and everything they did. So it's like, who wouldn't want to see more of that? So,
yeah, and you bring up a really good point. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I hate Zoom. I really do. I hate the delay. What were you saying?
I was just gonna. I don't know. I don't remember.
Frick! God. No, I want to piggyback off you, Rex. I think that's totally legitimate what you were saying. Could we see a spin-off series for Bo-Katan?
No.
God, of course, Mikey just hates that idea so much.
I don't hate the idea. I just highly unlikely. I mean,
yeah.
Out of how many people here know who Bo-Katan is, from the show? I mean,
if the Bad Batch can get one, you know what I mean? Like, they were only in a couple episodes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, but I mean, not many people know.
Hey, I'm literally just throwing.
I would
stuff
love
out
it.
There.
That'd be awesome.
I would too. That would be freaking dope. She's great.
Highly unlikely.
I love Bo-Katan. That's all I'm trying to get at, Mikey. Why do you have to freaking crap all over everything? God.
I didn't crap on it. It's just
no, I'm just kidding.
That specific character. I don't know.
No, I'm just like her.
I think they could make it work.
I could, yeah. Especially if they have that actress.
God bless you, Rex, because that's why you connect with all the right things. You know what I mean? No, I'm just saying.
I just love Mandalore and Mandalorians. So it's like anything about them, I'm all about.
Yeah.
Of course, we have to.
In no way would a Mandalorian ever beat Batman and Robin, though. Let's just be honest.
Mikey, I will freaking.
What are we doing?
I will literally
podcast.
I will literally reach through this freaking screen and kill you. No, I'm just kidding.
Say that. I'm sorry.
I know. Rex, what else you got for us, bro?
I just thought it was a solid episode. I like that it, it advanced the plot, and we get to see all this Mandalore lore. Stupid pun, but personally, I'm interested. Like I said, anything Mandalorian. Anything about their culture, their background. Like I feel like I just want to learn more about it. And I did see Clone Wars, like a few of the Mandalorian episodes, but it was a while ago, and I'm kind of like rusty on remembering what happened exactly. But I just remember that I like them. But yeah, this episode is great.
I respect you for even trying to attempt to watch that show. I was forced to, and I hated almost every minute of it.
Well, the first 3 seasons, I just felt it was really hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of like paused there, and I never continued.
Oh man, that's right when it starts to get decent.
Literally right when it starts to get okay. Hot take, because I've thought about this for a while. I've been listening to our episodes that are now releasing. We recorded these months ago, right? And this was very much in kind of the building process of the Zoom format. And that show is not that good. It is. We gave good seasons. I mean, we gave scores to good seasons, but that show is a 7 overall. Like, it is just okay.
But it like drops knowledge, right?
Changed my mind. I mean, somebody come in here. Someone's probably furious right now. I don't know who it is. It's probably freaking Maestri. Maestri's probably in his car going, "Yeah,
dude." No,
you know
I think
mean?
he probably agrees with you, bro. He loves Rebels.
Yeah, he does love Rebels, but there's someone. Maybe it's BLG. BLG, if it's you, I don't know how big of a Star Wars fan you are, but you know what I mean. If it's you yelling in your car right now, I'm so sorry, but you need to prove me wrong and point me in the right direction.
But it was like necessary, though, right? Because I feel like it connected the dots.
It's necessary now because of what they're doing.
Right. But like, yeah, and that's the hard part is like the foundation is just kind of okay, and now we're reaping the benefits of what it's set before us. So now it's just kind of frustrating. But I want to throw. Go ahead, Caleb.
No, I was just gonna say, I do have to say that I think when they made Clone Wars 10 years ago and started pumping those episodes out, I don't think they had any intention that it would grow into what it's kind of at today and the cult following that it has. It's Caleb, fine. Like, we don't need to dump on it because we set ourselves to watch seven seasons of it in 3 months or whatever stupid thing we did. It's fine, and there's definitely episodes that are really, really good, and there's some episodes that really, really stink. But dumping on it like that, Gabe, is kind of unnecessary. I think you're just burnt out on it. And Mikey's definitely just burnt out on it. That's why he's saying that. And of course, he left, so he doesn't even hear what I'm saying.
No, he's like, Caleb's talking, I'm out. I think about literally how much of that show we covered and the amount of time we did it, and I'm like, no wonder Mikey doesn't want to do a show every week now. He hates us. You know what I mean? Oh, Diet Coke sponsorship. Look at us go.
Oh, look at that. Coke's better.
Yeah, it is the best. It's the best soda pop on the planet. So there you go, soda pop. I want to shift gears. Diet Coke, not regular Coke. Coke is not better than Pepsi. Quit trying to perpetuate that idea.
Do we need to do a podcast about soda beverages?
No, we don't. Me and Emma already do that. Mia and Emma already do that. Soda Pop Squad. Oh, yeah, it's going to happen. Number 4. It's coming at some point in time. Which, by the way, here we go. This is the most important take of the episode, honestly. And that's Emma. Because Emma's watching this episode with me. And I'm like, oh, dope. Like whenever Bo-Katan took her helmet off. And Emma's like, ha, 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 who is that? Like, it's inherently going to be different for someone who hasn't watched the Clone Wars and doesn't even understand. And this is about the point in time where I think it's good to say, hey, if you haven't watched the Clone Wars, we're about to spoil some stuff hard right now. Okay? So this is your last warning, your last chance. Bo-Katan and the Duchess was her name, right? In Clone Wars, yeah. Satine, right? Satine and Obi-Wan Kenobi were lovers, like we know they were. They loved each other. Yeah, well done, Mikey. Satine dies, right? And she at that point in time is going. Yeah, she at that point in time she's ruling over Mandalore. She's kind of the acting. She's the. Am I right there, Caleb? She's the governor of Mandalore, right?
Yeah, and then they're overthrown by Darth Maul, and she gets wrecked.
What? Yeah, well said. So that would mean the succession is technically that falls to whoever's next in line. Which, to my knowledge, the next in line would in fact be her next of kin, which is Bo-Katan. Hence the name. Her sister. Bo-Katan is the Satine's
heiress.
Sister. Hence the name, the heiress. Now, Emma, my question to you is, as somebody who hasn't watched Clone Wars and who doesn't, who isn't quite in the know, whenever you're hearing about Bo-Katan and all this other stuff, and she's talking about Ahsoka Tano, how does that hit for you? What is your high takes on this episode, and how does that kind of hit for you?
I'm not gonna lie, it makes me feel a little like left out, and like it's not super like consumer friendly for someone like me. Like, I will say I really enjoyed this episode, and it was nice to finally see the actual plot move along and like progress. And I liked seeing other Mandalorians, but sitting here with you guys and hearing you guys talk about like how freaking awesome it was, it's like, oh, I wish I felt like that. So don't know. I don't know that it definitely wasn't as exciting for me as it probably was for you guys. I mean, I enjoyed the episode. I liked seeing the plot move along, like I said, but I don't think it wasn't, it makes me feel kind of, like I said, left out. I don't know how else to put it. But I mean, it makes me wish I would have watched like a Clone Wars, like, I don't know, like on YouTube, like some sort of thing that like tells you like an overview of what happens or whatever. And I probably still will do that because I don't think I have the patience to actually watch the show. But yeah, so I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I'm not gonna lie.
And that right there, that kind of testimony. And Rex, I saw you raise your hand, so I'm going to get to you. Zoom, ladies and gentlemen, it's beautiful. We're not in a room together, but we can make this happen. You know what I mean? That right there lies my biggest problem with the episode. And we'll get to it. I'm sure that's going to be the rest of the episode. But Rex, what did you want to say about whatever Emma had to say?
I was just going to ask Emma if she liked the character.
Bo-Katan or whatever. Yeah, I liked her character. Yeah, it made me want to know more about her, I guess, since I feel like I'm the only one that doesn't know about her. You know, like it made me feel like, oh yeah, maybe I should like know more about this person. But yeah, no, I liked her character. I wish that they would have like, I don't know, like gotten along better and like maybe stuck together or something. Like I'd like to know more about them, you know. So
right, about the character. And now I think, go ahead, Caleb, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I do think that there has to be a way to just go through those episodes in Clone Wars, and then I think there's some in Rebels too that include her, but her storyline through Clone Wars is one of the highlights of the Clone Wars and everything that happens around Mandalore. It's such a cool thing, and Bo-Katan, like, specifically has just a lot of character development for that series, and I think that, yeah, that's definitely something that I would encourage anyone that, you know, feels like Emma to go and do, because it's definitely worth it. And I think it is going to make you enjoy her character in live action a lot more.
Yeah, that's well said. I think right now, this is the wannabe's honest opinion right here. Recapping anything at this point in time, unless you just genuinely don't care, is a mistake. I would think, you know, there's got to be a forum on Reddit or something where it's like, hey, these are the Bo-Katan episodes. This is the Mandalore arc, whatever. This is the meat of Mandalore if you're trying to, you know, compliment Mandalorian, whatever. I think recapping stuff is a mistake for a lot of people. Emma, maybe not so much you. Emma's a busy lady, all right? A recap is perfect for someone like Emma because she doesn't care. But we do kind of lay into the problem here of it's never going to hit the same way for everybody else. Your casual watchers who were originally just like your parents, you know, for instance, Caleb and Emma's parents, who are watching because of Baby Yoda and like the relationship between Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. No one is going to come into this episode and be like, oh my God, you know, oh, sorry, Emma, I couldn't see you. Go raise your hand. Or you should raise your hand. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. No, I just had something to say along those lines that, yeah, for me, it's not even that I'm not like a hardcore fan. I mean, I'm not a hardcore fan, but I do love Star Wars and like, but I also hate cartoons. And so I think it's kind of messed up to think that like, oh, like you have to watch this cartoon show to like know everything that happens in Star Wars. It's like, I don't know, it's just kind of irritating for me because it's like I don't like cartoons, like that's just not my thing. And it's irritating to me that like so much like lore and just like story is within those cartoon shows, you know. And like you were saying, like people like my parents and like more casual watchers, I would say I'm more into Star Wars than like super casual watchers, but like especially for people like them, like they're definitely not gonna even go through the like effort to go watch a recap, you know.
Right.
So it's just,
yeah,
it's kind of frustrating, honestly.
Yeah, Mikey.
I feel like that is probably the second biggest problem with this episode, where it's, if they would have just incorporated one character from the Clone Wars, I feel like that would have been okay. And then maybe later down the road hinted at another character, but they kind of did like a pretty hard 90-degree turn as for like a more casual, maybe hasn't seen the animated series like Emma and her parents, like she was saying, for them to be like, all right, we're going to go down a storyline to where it's all about people that most Star Wars viewers haven't even seen. And I feel like that is kind of alienating a lot of the viewers who, like you were saying, are there for Baby Yoda and there for Mandalorian, because they're there for a Star Wars Western. They're not there for, oh, I need more of Clone Wars in my show. That's why I feel like that's a big part of why I feel like they need at least one more season of them just kind of hinting at stuff rather than like, all right, now we're gonna go see Ahsoka Tano. You guys have had enough of this episodic Western Star Wars show that you've come to love. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what the next episode has, because it makes me kind of cautiously optimistic about this next episode, because depending on how they handle it, I kind of hope they don't even show Ahsoka at all. I hope that something happens to where he can't even get to her ever. Like that is the way I actually see it going, because if they're going to go on how his storyline has been going throughout this show, everything has gone wrong that can go wrong. So I don't know. I'm interested to see, but like I feel bad for the viewers like her who don't consume all the content and just want a decent Star Wars show because they grew up on Star Wars and they just love the title, you know? So I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this episode. That's why I'm in a Lobo kind of. I don't know what to think of it, because I have consumed that content and I see the side of the more hardcore fan, but I also, like my wife, I can see the other side. So I don't know. I don't really know what to think of it, to be honest.
To move on to Caleb and Rex, who both have points, it's so much different. It's a lot different than what we saw in the first season. Caleb?
Yeah, and just to go with, Emma's concerns, like I understand that, because I mean that's where my wife is in. I can imagine like that's where our parents would be, and anybody who's into this show for Baby Yoda. I mean, I think though that this has been a problem or a issue with Star Wars for decades, because there's always been an expanded universe, there's always been comics, there's always been books, there's always been the Christmas specials and the TV made for TV movies with the kids on Endor and the battle for Endor and all that stuff. And, I think that if we just give it time, and I mean, it's rough now for like Emma or for, these other people, when there's, people like me and Gabe and Mikey who have, seen all of this other content, and we know the backstory of these people and we're talking about it. And yeah, that makes us kind of guilty of almost excluding a certain fan base, because we're making it seem more exclusive. But I think that if we were just to be kind of, patient and cooler about it, I think that eventually it's going to like come around to where eventually, Bo-Katan's storyline is more explained in live action. And these people who only watch live action are going to get filled in at some point. I mean, you got some of that exposition in this episode, and where they talked about her being the Duchess and she's the rightful heir of Mandalore, and she should possess the dark saber. And I mean, that's summing up a lot of that stuff that happens in the Clone Wars, to where they don't need to necessarily go back and watch it. I think it's more of just like there's this whole subculture in Star Wars that have watched every single thing, and then there's a subculture in that of the people that have read the books. We had a character show up already this season that was exclusive to a book, and I'm sure there are people that love the books who are super excited to see that character, whereas that's something that kind of goes over my head because I don't read the books. And so I mean that's always just going to be an issue with Star Wars, because there's just so much content out there and so many different like media platforms, whether it's books or comics or video games or animated TV shows or live action TV shows or movies or whatever. That's just always going to be a problem. But I do think that the amazing thing about Star Wars is that you can sit back, you can pick and choose what you want. And I think eventually the storytelling is getting so good to where eventually in time, things are going to be explained and you can grow to love these characters, even though you don't know every last single detail about them, if that makes any sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And before I say what I want to say to that, Rex, I want to hear what you have to say, because I saw you were waving your hands in the air like they don't care. You know what I mean? Like you just don't care. So what do you got to say to that?
Yeah, no, I get what you guys are saying, but I also feel like this show really does such a good job at appeasing both audiences, and it appeases the super, you know, geeky, nerdy Star Wars fans that watch everything and read everything that they can find on Star Wars. And but it still caters to everyone else who just wants to watch a piece of Star Wars film. Like, I think it does both very well, and I don't think it's as much of a problem. I think part of what Star Wars brings to the table is that mystery, and that kind of fuels, I think, people to like it more, is when it has that mystery and it has all those different avenues of lore and different things you can watch to learn more about the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I get that too, because it's not so much like Emma, who hasn't seen the Clone Wars. I don't feel like they're trying to force you to watch like the Clone Wars to understand what's going on. I feel like they do that to maybe be like, oh, there's some stuff that I don't know about Star Wars, and it explained in a different series. Maybe I'll give that a shot. I feel like they have been very generous with this show so far, and I agree with that. But I don't know. I just also feel at the same time that it could have just been a little more time. But
I like that if it's there if you want it.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I totally get that.
And also, you know, here is the main issue, right? This is what I was fishing for, and we've kind of touched on it. Here's the thing: you have people that you have people on both sides. The people who love the expanded universe stuff, the people who love the current stuff. But here's the thing: you have a small group of people that, and I would lump Emma into this category too. Emma loves Star Wars. But you also have a big group of people that are coming in for the first time, or who are aware of the Star Wars brand and grew up with it and know the story, but just aren't that into sci-fi. But like, they like the Mandalorian because, like you said, Mikey, it feels like a Western and all this other stuff. And season 1 did such a good job of driving home that theme. Here's the problem. Whenever they come to, you know, whatever, and if they're talking to people about the Mandalorian, it's like, oh, did you see it? And it's like, oh, yeah, but who's Bo-Katan? And then maybe their group of friends that's also coming into it the first time is like, yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, is there a chance that they're going to feel like they're left out, like Emma? Yes, there is a chance. So that's the problem, is feeling like it's left out. But if they already don't care that much about sci-fi, and they don't really care that much about Star Wars, they literally just like the Mandalorian, they're not going to care that they're not going to care about Bo-Katan. Caleb?
Just one quick thing. I kind of liken it to the MCU. I mean, if you watch Avengers Endgame, there's a lot in there that's tying into 10 plus years, or over 10 years of Marvel references and things that have been built on for a long time. And, you know, if you're super into those movies, it's super rewarding because there's so many little Easter eggs and hints and different things. But you can also, if you go in as a casual viewer, I mean, that movie is the highest grossing movie of all time. And it's because anyone can go in there, watch it, and have a good time with it and enjoy it. So I think it's a little bit of both. It's, you know, they're trying, and Disney's doing this with Star Wars and with the MCU, where they're trying to strike this balance of being appealing to the, you know, mass audience while also rewarding, you know, their super fans that love this thing. And it's a tough balance. And that's kind of the unfortunate thing with it, is you're going to, you know, sometimes get these feelings of being excluded, and that sucks. Like, you know, I feel for Emma, like that sucks. But I think, you know, it's just a tough balance, and hopefully it's something that can kind of get mended in the end. And hopefully just over time, you know, things can kind of get more, I don't know, more beautifully meshed together.
Yeah, Emma, go ahead.
Yeah, I totally respect what all you guys are saying, and like it makes me wish I was one of those people that does know everything about everything, and so that I can feel that like extra reward, but like I'm not one of those people. And like, for me to become one of those people would take so much time at this point, you know, and it's just kind of sucks, that feeling of like, because I wouldn't lump me in with just people that like the show because of Baby Yoda and, you know, all that. Like, I do want to like know everything about what's going on and like understand everything, but it's almost impossible. Like, and like with the MCU, like I do get what you're saying, like that, and like that comparison, but I don't know. Like most people haven't read all the comics and like don't know everything, but like for me, like I still feel like I know enough to truly appreciate it and feel like I'm a part of it, and to like feel like a nerd like that's with all the other nerds, so that like really gets it and loves it. And but like with this, I just feel like they might be taking a turn that may not, I don't know. Like you said, we'll have to wait and see, and maybe things will get clearer. But like for now, I just feel like I agree with what I think it was Mikey that said it earlier. Like I wish they would have eased into it more instead of in the same episode being like, oh, here's this character, and then you're gonna go see this character also. Like two characters that like I wish I knew more about, but I don't because I don't like cartoons and, you know, all blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's just hard.
I feel like that's words. I understand the comparison to the Marvel, but like you said, Caleb, they had 10 years to do that. And this is the second year this has been out, and it's only been a short while.
Yeah, but
Star Wars
has been going on for 43 years at this point. I mean, and even like if you just take the Clone Wars stuff, that started at the same time as the MCU did.
Yeah.
So it's not just this show.
Also, though, when have they had a show that actually drew in this many people? Like Clone Wars didn't do that, and Rebels didn't do that. Like I don't know. I can see both sides.
Emma, you don't want to be one of those sweaty know-it-all nerds.
You really don't.
No, I
like,
don't, and that's why I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, if I wanted to be, I would be, but I like where I'm at, but I don't like the feeling. Basically, all I'm saying is like I like the type of fan that I am, but I don't like the feeling that this episode gave me. That's all I'm saying.
Boom. That is exactly what I'm trying to say. That's the problem. Because you have this small group of people that are enough to, know enough to be dangerous, so to speak. But they're like, maybe they've heard, such and such name. I know for a fact Emma's heard me talk about Ahsoka, but Emma doesn't know who Ahsoka is. Emma doesn't even know what Ahsoka looks like. So you have, a small group of people. And that's why I kind of lump them into the same category. You have small amount of people who know enough to be dangerous. You have a small amount of people that don't really know anything. So for those people that don't really know anything, it becomes like kind of a moot point, right? Where they don't really care. It's like, whatever, I'm just here week to week. But you also have that same group of people, or, that the other half of that group of people, like Emma, who's with us week to week, right? To where now, if she asks us like, now what the flip is going on here? We can say, oh, that's in such and such episode, or that's, from the such and such arc. Because I think, honestly, it's kind of smart what Disney's trying to do here. I think they are trying to get people to go back and watch those animated shows. Like, that's the ultimate goal, I think, is to get people to go back, because there's a special, like, section of must-watch Disney Plus episodes. Am I wrong, Caleb? Isn't there, like, a playlist of, like, these are the must-watch?
Yeah, there is, like, on I'm not sure if it's still there, but it was before season 7 dropped that there was a must-watch Clone Wars episodes that they had put in there. It was really good, and it was really all that you needed to really get the gist of that show. And, to Emma's point, I felt the exact same way. I didn't want to watch the animated shows until I watched The Mandalorian. And then I was like, wow, this is so awesome. And I went back and started watching the animated shows. I watched Rebels, and then I watched all of the Clone Wars to get ready for season 7 of Clone Wars because I liked Rebels so much. Clone Wars is much more of a slog than Rebels because there's a lot more filler there. But, and then doing it for the podcast, and it's just like, but I was in the same place as Emma literally a little over a year ago. I didn't necessarily super care about all the animated stuff, and I didn't think I, wanted to go back and have the time. And I completely understand not wanting to go back and have the time. And I don't think that you should have to. I just think that eventually in time, I think it's all going to come around. And, maybe they could have done a little bit of a flashback like they did last year with, the battle droids attacking Mando as a kid or something like that, and thrown that in there. And maybe that would have meshed this better for Bo-Katan. Maybe something like that would have been better to kind of, include people that don't want to go back like that. And you know what? Maybe that's something that we'll see. We still haven't even tackled like the purge of Mandalore, really. We don't know what that's like. There's still a lot to tackle with, Moff Gideon. And I think that there's still a lot out there. And I think that maybe by the end of this season, we'll look back at this episode and maybe not be judging it by the same thing because we are given more information in the future. Right now, I think if you're someone like Emma or like my wife or like our parents, and that's, a lot of different, viewpoints on Star Wars. But I do think that they're almost giving you these stuff as cliffhangers. And if you've seen the animated stuff, the backstories, that's great, but it's still cliffhangers and we're all going to learn more together. And I think it just might take a little bit more time than what maybe we wanted, if that makes any sense.
That's well said. We're not even halfway through the series yet, and we're already, critiquing it pretty hard. But I think that's what you do. You critique what you love, and you attack things. That way we can tell a concise story, throughout the podcast. And, this is how we're feeling right now. We may not feel that way by the end of the season. Rex? And you're gonna wrap it up, Rex, because I gotta pee really bad. Can you keep this going, Rex, while I go pee? I gotta pee so bad.
Yeah, go for it. I'll be the host.
Yeah, you do it. You got this.
No, I was just going to say that I totally agree with Caleb, and we just have to really wait and see like what Disney does with this. And they've hinted at so many little things, so I think they're really going to have to deliver on a lot of these. Because if they don't, you're really going to piss some people off, I think.
Yeah.
I think that it would be terrible to underdeliver and to either to piss off both the viewers that have come in because they love Baby Yoda, or to those ones that love Star Wars and just they just don't have time to go through all the extended universe stuff, or the ones that are heavy into it. And if they do it wrong, they could be basically making all of them mad. But I don't think that they've done that. And I think from what we've seen from The Mandalorian specifically, I think that they have the ability. And Dave Filoni's an excellent storyteller. And Jon Favreau, I think, knows what he's doing. And I have confidence they're going to be able to pull this off in a way to where at the end, everyone's going to be happy with it,
Yeah, and like you said, like we have the MCU as an example. So,
So question for you guys, how have you guys known that you needed to like watch these other animated series and like known that was going to be a part of this show?
We didn't.
Basically from friends. That's
from friends.
Did we know? Gabe. Yeah. I mean, I see stuff on Twitter, like things leaked specifically about this season, but like I didn't know that all of this was going to tie in together, especially with Mandalorian, until like talking to Gabe about it. I think he's the one that kind of tipped me off that I need to go back and watch the Clone Wars and Rebels.
I will say, I don't want to seem like I'm crapping on this episode, because I did enjoy this episode. It was just like certain feelings that I had, but I did enjoy this episode, and I do still love this show, and I don't want to seem like now I just don't like this show and all that stuff. Like, no, I do, and I appreciate everything about it, and I'm happy for you guys. I'm happy for fans like you that do get some validation and do get some just like that validation from the fact that you spent so much time watching the Clone Wars, which I've heard is really slow, and taking the time to do that. Like, I'm sure that feels really good. So I am happy for you guys. Like, and I still love this show, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
I think if you are entrenched, or if you're ingrained in social media in any way, shape, or form, especially Twitter. I haven't seen anything on The Mandalorian on Instagram or Facebook, but Twitter, that's where it lives. And I think I've seen less and less on the show. People aren't talking about it right now as much. Like, I don't know why. I think of the new hotness has kind of worn off a little bit. For me, it hasn't, obviously, because we're doing this episode. But it's kind of interesting how there's just a small group of people to where it's like, God, I wish I knew more about this thing. Is that sad? Yeah, it is sad. Sorry, Emma. That sucks. Does it take away from the excitement you should have about this show? No, because like Caleb said, they probably will come full circle. And honestly, we're probably getting another couple episodes of The Mandalorian, and Bo-Katan, unless she dies, is probably going to be sticking around for quite some time. It would not surprise me at all to see us going to Mandalore, and Mandalore being such a big part of Star Wars lore yet again.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think that's definitely where the show is trying to push us, especially since more Mandalorians showed up.
Yep.
I think that's kind of where we're going back to.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Mikey.
Even with the hints from the first season with the just he drops the purge like I think 2 or 3 times, and no casual viewer knows what the heck that is. So it would make total sense for them to go back into that, because I mean, there's a lot of people who watch the show that don't even know what happens, because if you watch Clone Wars and Rebels, you're still not even caught up with what happened then,
Yep.
So
Well said.
it makes sense. It would make sense in order for sure.
Well said.
Not to shift things, but I thought it was really interesting how the Mandalorian has a totally different creed in these Mandalorians.
Yeah. Like literally they're like, oh, you're a child of the Watch. There's these factions. It's like, oh, there's apostates to the Mandalorian religion. It's like, okay, that's kind of a cool take. Go ahead, Caleb.
But no, I thought that I loved that. And what's kind of cool is that Bo-Katan was part of Death Watch, which was in itself its own faction, and was in its own way extremists. So it's cool to think that there's a society and they all wear the same armor, but they're all different and have different viewpoints of things. I loved that reveal when they all just take off their helmets. It's
he's like,
especially
what?
especially if you haven't seen any of the animated stuff and you don't know that Mandalorians are just taking off their helmets willy-nilly, it's no big deal. That revelation, because that's the thing. It's the whole first season is they cannot show their face, and you have that reveal at the end where he's hesitant to even take it off in front of the droid. And then they just pop off their helmets. It's so cool. I love that so much. As soon as they see him.
I kind of envy that a little bit, because I'm like, if you don't know that that's in the Clone Wars, and you kind of like Emma, you see it, you're like, wait, what? They can take their helmets off? I kind of wish I could feel that, because I'm like, I already know that. But you know what I mean? It'd be interesting to see the other side of that. But
I'm right there with you.
Totally cut you off.
No, that was fine. We need to wrap up the episode anyways. I think.
Wait, I have one more question.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you guys know who the creeper was at the beginning of the episode, when they had just parked their ship and there was I think it was a woman in a hood? Do you guys know who that was?
That was one of the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't recognize her.
The chick with the cross bangs or whatever.
She was a scout.
Okay.
She was kind of scouting out the area. But I think the only what we've talking about for the past 25, 30 minutes, I think that's literally the only bad thing about the episode that comes out of it, except whenever we go to the barge, I'm with you, Mikey. It's just okay, they're automatically stabbing him, doing the thing. And then, so the Mandalorians, save him. Then he flies away.
Yeah. To
go deal with the brother. Then they save him again. It was okay, why didn't you just, I mean, I understand why. It just was kind of weird. It's just kind of a weird 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. And it's borderline nitpicky, but it just kind of fell off a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, does anyone else have anything bad that they didn't like about the episode before we move on? Because I mean, if you don't like the frog stuff, come on, who cares? It's fine. It's fine. It is sweet.
That,
it is sweet.
That moment when they meet each other in the crowd is so sweet.
Yeah, and they're
so
all
good.
Oh my gosh. I don't mind the frogs, but one thing you guys did not comment on in the past episode that I definitely would have is when that really annoying lady is speaking frog and she's like, I was like, no, that is not okay.
That's not right.
That is just not right. But other than that, the frogs are fine. They're fine.
I love the little tadpole at the end too.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Are you gonna touch on the whole internet like egg thing with Baby Yoda at all by chance?
Oh, that's so stupid. Do we
It's
really
so
need to give
dumb.
that the time of day?
We don't. I literally overheard a conversation today where people were complaining about it. I was like, are you kidding me?
I saw a whole article that somebody had like written in like an actual newspaper about it.
Oh my
and I'm like,
God.
you are actually got paid to write this stupid thing. How dumb.
I must
I
not be
can't
on the
do it.
internet as much as you guys this past week or two,
Dude,
because I have no idea what you're talking about.
I wasn't even on the internet. It was just like I've heard it through word of mouth, but people literally petitioned that Baby Yoda was eating the eggs of that weren't even fertilized yet. So it was like literally eating like a chicken egg. And they were like, he's eating a fertilization egg of some lady. And like, it was like, it's a Star Wars TV show.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I'm going to go ahead and cut you off there. We're not going to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
No need to address it because that's stupid.
Yep.
Anything else, ladies?
Oh, I liked the planet and the are they called Quarrens?
Yeah.
Quarren
Quarrens
and
and
the
Quarian.
Mon Calamari. That was really cool to just see them.
Such a freaking cool planet.
Yeah.
I loved the callback too, where he finally got to use that calamari squid or whatever it's called, that he got paid for that first bounty. Back in the first episode of The Mandalorian, he finally got to use it. It was super. I thought it was a cool little callback.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't mention the total running back moment the Mandalorian had, Caleb, when he was like, the only time he seemed good at his job was when he just ran those grenades straight down the blaster hallway when he was just getting pelted with blasters.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was
super cool.
That was probably
He's
my favorite part of the episode.
Dude, you know how much that probably freaking hurt? He's probably like,
Yeah.
God, ow, ow. You know what I mean? Like, that's a blaster fire coming in. Like, that would pierce your skin.
It
You know
does show you like how good that armor is, though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bescar's no joke.
I thought he would had some dents or something, but nothing. That's crazy.
Goes to show you that's probably how they could take, some lightsaber hits too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, to an extent. But
Also, I got my pops in.
oh, that's a dope
That's
pop.
dope.
I would buy one.
Yeah,
I honestly thought about buying a Mandalorian pop, but Emma has forbidden me from buying any more. So I only have two, but
This
I
one's
want.
my
They're
favorite.
so cute.
Ooh, that's cool.
I love pops.
You
Oh, that's
only
cool.
have two, Gabe?
Yeah, I only have two. Emma or Rex has like 5 or 6. He has a spike
Look
one
at
too.
him go. Oh, really?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, what?
See ya, space
I
cowboy.
thought you had more than two.
No, I sold the
sweetie, but
spike one.
that's
No,
okay.
I only have 2. I only have 2 pops. I have other figures, but I don't have any pops.
My sister has like 50
Holy
or 100.
Oh, okay. Well, super fan there. You know what I mean? But go for her. I mean, it's a good investment. I
That's
guess
a
probably worth
lot.
some money. It's probably worth some money. You know what I mean? But
I have
I bought
Captain
Harley
Rex.
Quinn one.
yeah, I bought Emma the
Uh,
Harley Quinn one. She secretly loves it.
I have Captain Rex, and he's worth some money now. So
Oh.
that's cool.
Oh, man,
that's dope.
I pre-ordered Captain Rex. Never mind. I pre-ordered Captain Rex.
We're digressing. We're
Sorry.
digressing from the show, and we got to
Sorry.
wrap it up.
Sorry,
It's been
sorry.
over an hour, so
Has it really?
it really has. Yeah, it truly has. Look at us go.
Oh, like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know. It
Like
just,
the episode.
it,
Yeah.
it just keeps going. You know what I mean? It just keeps it's the gift that keeps on giving over and over and over again.
I don't feel like we even really talked about the scenes and stuff.
I mean, do we really have to? Like, it was an awesome episode. Like we had an action-packed, just boom, 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 then over episode. Like, and we got something to look forward to next week, and we have plenty to talk about next week as well. So, but look at us go. We had another 5-person panel, and the professionals. Is like what we're
High five.
high fives all around because we did pretty good. That was a pretty smooth 5-person panel, but. I think we are a little over an hour here. And honestly, I am so hungry I can't even think. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. But before we do, let's go ahead and give this bad boy a score overall. Caleb, I'm gonna throw it to you.
Yeah, so this is a 9.5 for me. So that's a very high score. I mean, look, I love it. I do think there's a little bit of faults. I think it was a little too short. Would have liked to have seen more. I understand where, Emma's coming from too. And I think that can definitely be a fault, but I do think that hopefully I'm very hopeful that problem will eventually be resolved. And I do think that is just a greater problem that I think Star Wars as a whole kind of has, unfortunately, but that's the beast. So it's kind of just the way it goes. But no, I like this episode a lot. Action's awesome. I think it did a really good job of showing, a character that we've only seen in animated as, a live action. And I think that performance was awesome. I thought the direction was awesome. Oh, one other just little thing. Could have used a little bit more Baby Yoda. There was just very little Baby Yoda in this episode. And, that's kind of, when that's like one of the, the top thing that this show is kind of selling you on, that is kind of surprising to see that they were willing to go that route where, they kind of shoved them off to the side for an episode. So, I mean, and that might not be completely fair, but, there wasn't a whole lot of them there, and it's kind of interesting, but I'm sure, that won't be a pattern going forward.
Yeah, you can't take them everywhere.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta leave them at the sitters. You know what I mean? Let them eat the frog eggs. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
Yeah. I wish he ate them. How about that?
I wanted to see him eat another one because it was cracking me up last week, and I don't really care about the frog people's children. So, Mikey,
we're getting canceled.
Everybody's getting canceled at this point. I agree with everything Caleb said. I really enjoyed this episode. I liked the imagery of kind of on the frog egg topic of how Baby Yoda was eating all of her eggs last episode, but then Baby Yoda in an egg got ate by another monster. So that
I didn't pick that up. That's good.
Kind of interesting, but also from the perspective of Emma, I kind of have to dock it a little bit. So I'd probably give it a 9 because for a hardcore fan, I mean, it's a great episode. I mean, so many callbacks, great imagery, especially the ship like just falling apart with the AT-AT in the back that's hauling it out of the water. I loved everything to do with this episode, so I'll probably give it a 9. I really enjoyed it.
Rex?
I'm going to have to go with Caleb and give it a 9.5. Just, I don't know, it's just like almost another perfect episode. It's like, what can you say bad about it other than, what you guys mentioned? It's just, everything's great. I loved how they brought those characters like the Quarren and the Mon Calamari to live action. I know we've seen Mon Calamari, but it's just cool to see him in person. And that reminded me of how he fixed the ship, and it was all like rickety and all those nets everywhere.
He's like, "Are you serious?
Like, I paid you 1,000 credits, and this is what you get. It's still falling apart."
That was great. There's so many good scenes, and the action was super well done. Loved it all. So yeah, 9.5 for me.
Nice.
Emma, your turn.
This may surprise you guys, but I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Wow. I feel bad. I feel like it probably seemed like I was crapping on this episode the whole time, but I was just trying to get my feelings across. And but for the most part, I really loved this episode, besides the one thing that I pointed out. But like, that's such a small thing, really, in the grand scheme of things. And overall, this was a really good episode. My favorite episode in a while, because it actually felt like the plot progressed finally in a big way. And in such a short amount of time, that was really impressive. So I really appreciated that. I feel bad because probably what I was bringing out took over most of the episode, and we were just in these past 10 minutes able to talk about some of the really good, like, small details of the episode. And there was just so many good scenes in this episode. So yeah, it's a solid 9 for me, for sure.
Yeah, but the thing is, and that's a great score, Emma. We covered it all. We got it all pretty much, from, and one thing I think that the last thing we didn't skate over, because it was so minute, I guess, was just kind of like the back and forth between the Empire, and just kind of what their protocol is on everything. Like, it's like, all right, for the Empire at all costs, right? And that guy's like, all right, pew, pew, kills both the pilots. And he's like, we're going down. I'm bringing this mother down. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the Empire, man.
That's the Empire, man. They are ruthless. And I love how they got that point across. Like, they are as bad as you think they are and worse. They will do whatever it takes to secure the package or kill the package, so to speak. It's a jam-packed episode. There's very little to pick apart, and I don't think even it depends on who you are. If you're trying to attack it objectively in terms of like what we spend a big chunk of the episode talking about, of do we feel left out? That's not really. objectionable, as much for your average viewer. This is a great episode. There's very little to say is wrong with it, but I do think there are like one, two, three, couple of things to where it's like at the end of the day, I do have to take for me to sleep well tonight, I have to take at least 1 point off. But still 9 and 9.5, you're talking about something that's nearly perfect, almost, or almost gets to that level. It's like if something rang in your mind, or it's like, but what about this, or what about that? You know what I mean? Like a 9 and a 9.5 warrants that type of score. A 10 out of 10 is you don't really think of anything that bugs you about said thing. And I mean, for me, it has to go ahead.
Sorry, we're just supposed to get nitpicky here because we're critics. We're wannabe critics. So we got to be a little nitpicky.
I do have to say, I think that's kind of, our show is, we'll give something a really good score, but then we'll spend the entire episode crapping on it. So it's just, that's the nature of the beast. It's our brand, but it's fun.
Welcome. Buy a t-shirt. Welcome. Your takes are welcome here. You understand me? And I appreciate all your guys' good insight and good takes. And I like actually that we're not covering the show on Friday nights anymore, really, because I think the first night we did it on Friday, right? The first time we did it on Friday, it was like, oh yeah, this is great, whatever. But then last week, like I had a little bit of time to digest the episode, and I was actually talking with a colleague before the episode started, and he even mentioned, he was like, yeah, man, I like that you're waiting because it gives me time to think about the episode and then come back to it. So I think it's helping us benefit, it's benefiting us for the content, and it's just making the show overall better. So, and plus, how often do you look forward to anything that happens on a Monday? You never do. It never happens. You know what I mean? Unless you have Monday off for whatever random holiday. So there you have it. But 9s across the board from the Wannabe Critic podcast on the Heiress. I can't wait to see what happens. Next week is the halfway point. We're going to have a mega episode, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be great. We're potentially going to have Mikey's spouse on board. We're going to have Rex's spouse on board. My spouse is yet again going to be on board because she's one of the co-hosts for this particular segment. We're not sure on Emily yet. Caleb's spouse. We're not sure yet.
I'm like 85% sure I can get her to jump in. So yeah.
If we can get
as high as I want it to be.
I mean, yeah. Go ahead, Mikey.
I said what I had to say.
I didn't hear you. But
it's not as high as I would like it to be.
Oh, gotcha. If we get a smooth podcast out of that, I'm going to be super duper happy. So it's going to be interesting.
People,
the mega episode.
All the wives.
It is absolutely not going to happen.
I'm going to have to give you guys a stern talking to before we get started, before we make, like we did this episode. I was like, all right, guys, this is how it's going. And then what do you know? We have another solid episode of the Wannabe Critic podcast. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in, for putting up with us this long. We really appreciate it. Make sure you visit wannabecritic.com to see all the different stuff we got going on. Really fast, I got this dope Miller High Life hat. The Pop Cult USA, they're hooking me up with the merch. The Miller High Life hat, I got the purple tie-dye Battletoad shirt going on. It's not for everyone, you know what I mean? But for me, it's like perfect. Like it's so on brand with me as a person. So there you go. Also, I was a bit of a spaz today. I had me a little energy drink. You might have heard of it. It's called, I'm just pulling the can out of the trash can because that's how I am, Raise Energy. You know what I mean? It's very little calories. 0 calories, in fact. No calories. And they will get you jacked throughout the entire day because technically it's pre-workout. But I just drink it like a regular person because I'm a psychopath. So go ahead and use _wannabecritic to get 15% off your Raise order and 30% off your Pop Cult order. And it would mean a lot to us. So we appreciate you tuning in. But that's going to wrap it up for us here. Make sure you stay tuned for next week. And then also Rex and I will be covering the news, maybe with someone else this week. I don't know. I never know what's going on. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. But maybe we'll have a guest on for the news this week, if there even is any news. But irregardless, make sure you tune in next week because it's going to be a really fun time. So thank you guys so much again. Thank you for preparing yourselves for a plethora of hot takes and potentially unpopular opinions. Say goodbye, everybody. Good night.
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.
So long.